In this video we're going to take a look at the AddContact.xml file, which is for the AddEditContact activity. And this layout will be used in cases where we're either adding a new contact or editing an existing contact. And depending on which case it is, if we're adding a new contact, then all of the edit texts that are displayed will be empty initially. If we're modifying an existing contact, then the fields that have data will be populated with that data, so the user can edit the fields and change their values or add additional information for fields that did not contain data previously. Now, the key thing that I want to point out in this particular layout, since there's nothing that's really new here, is the fact that we're using Android IME options and also Android input type in each of the different edit texts that we have here. So the IME options value action next says when you're done with the given edit text to move on to the next edit text. So for example, we have for the first edit text here the IME options action next, and again for the next edit text, and again for the next one, and we continue to do that all the way down till the very last of the edit texts where you can see IME options action done. And what this does is it dismisses the keyboard at that point so that it's no longer displayed on the screen. Now separately, for each of the input types, we're specifying values that allow Android to display an appropriate keyboard based on the type of input. So in this case, we're saying that the input type should be text person name and text cap words. And what this is going to do is automatically display a keyboard that's good for inserting a person's name or typing a person's name, but also it's going to make sure that each word is capitalized by default. For the next edit text, which is for the phone number, we've specified the input type phone, and you can see in this case when you run the app that a keyboard for entering a phone number will be displayed. So let's go over to our IDE here, and we'll display the content for the Paul contact, and we'll go ahead and say edit contact. And now when I click in the phone field, you can see that I get a keyboard that is specific to entering phone numbers. If I click in the name field, then I get a keyboard that's better for entering names. And as you'll see in a moment when I go back to the XML, if I click in the email address field, I get a keyboard for an email address that also includes the @ sign, which of course is part of every email address. So let's go back over here, and you can see that the next edit text is the email edit text, and for that one we're saying that we want to enter an email address, so the input type is text email address. That gives us the appropriate keyboard. In the case of the address text view, that's just general information, so for this one we don't even specify a particular keyboard type, so it'll just display the default keyboard for this one. On the next one we have the street edit text, and for that one we're using text postal address and text cap words so that we get a keyboard that's good for entering addresses. And finally for the city edit text, again text postal address and text cap words is used. And for the button, of course, we don't need an input type for that. The user is simply going to touch the button to cause the contact to get saved at that point.